I am again thankful to all news media outlets for letting me use their contents. I greatly appreciate that. I am available 24/7 if they need any assistance. Now go to the headlines. Hi and very warm welcome at Amir Shackle 5858. I am Amir Shackle. Following news headlines have been reported by world major English news channels and news agencies. So please watch it.
Toba Salka, Richard, Tri-State Weather Outlook. So we're done with the...
Tonight, global travel chaos. London's Heathrow Airport just coming back online after a dramatic fireball caused all runways to be shut down. The planes lined up, stranded passengers forced to navigate terminals in the dark. What caused the meltdown? Elon Musk at the Pentagon. The president saying it was about cost cutting, slamming a new report that Musk was there to see potential war plans about China. And the Tesla CEO turned presidential advisor trying to assure his own employees.
If you read the news, it feels like, Armageddon.
Telling them to stay the course as Tesla cars come under attack and more owners look to ditch their once prized electric vehicles. The new images just released by NASA showing astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams back in Houston. Richard Engel on the ground in Syria, his rare look inside the prison, holding 10,000 alleged ISIS fighters. The growing global terror concerns. The mystery surrounding a family gone missing in Arizona. Was this massive highway pileup responsible? What the sheriff's office leading the investigation told our Dana Griffin.
Imagine creating a stunning website with AI as easily as chatting with a friend.
Here now with more Tudor Dixon podcast host Tudor Dixon and Outkick founder Clay Travis. Thank you both for joining us. All right, Tudor, I got to start with you. Rosie O'Donnell moving out of the country, moving to Ireland, writing poetry about Trump. What do you think?
Well, you might not know this, but I actually worked for Rosie O'Donnell once upon a time. So 26 years ago, I was an intern at the Rosie O'Donnell show. I know. And it was the Rosie O'Donnell that I knew was obviously a different Rosie O'Donnell than today. People absolutely adored her. They loved working on her show. I don't know what happened, but I will give her credit that she didn't like it. She said she was going to leave. Every other celebrity says they're going to leave, and they just stay in the United States. So she left, and she's saying all this stuff. The one thing I would say is, Rosie, don't look at our party, look at your party. If you're so unhappy, ask yourself why your party is so screwed up.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, Tudor, because Clay, at least she did what she said she was going to do, right? Ellen DeGeneres said she was going to do it. She actually moved out, but all these other ones that say, I got to leave the country, and then they don't. So, yeah, I'll give her some credit there. I don't wish any ill will on any person, on any American. If she's happier there, I'm glad she went.
I actually feel sorry for Ireland because of all the celebrities that said they were going to leave. Don't you think they're actually disappointed that they got Rosie O'Donnell? I mean, she's like 78 on the list of celebrities that you'd want if you're Irish to move to your country. No Americans care. And by the way, Tudor Dixon, we need you to run in Michigan and help win back that state, either as governor or senator. She's got a great podcast in the Clay and Buck Podcast Network. We would hate to lose her like we lost Sean Parnell, but she would dominate in Michigan. She would win statewide as either a senator or a governor. Maybe Rosie would move back since she used to be an intern. Maybe she'd be comfortable in Michigan with Tudor in control there.
Michigan is a lovely... I do encourage people to move to the state of Michigan. I'll take Rosie. I'll take anybody, Come on. We are friendly here in Michigan.
That's pretty friendly.
Tonight, the global travel disruption caused by the unprecedented shutdown of one of the world's busiest airports, London's Heathrow. Thousands of passengers left in limbo, with the impact likely to last several days. President Trump denying Elon Musk was going to get a top-secret briefing on China, what we are learning tonight, and the mysterious disappearance of 3 members of the same family who are on vacation at the Grand Canyon. First, the inferno erupting near Heathrow Airport, knocking out power and forcing a complete shutdown. Flights from across the globe diverted, some forced to turn around mid-flight. The eerie scenes at Europe's busiest airport, runways empty, passengers finding their way around in the dark, luggage in tow, hundreds of thousands of travelers. Investigators searching for the cause of the fire at an electrical substation. The latest on how long it could take to get back to normal. Elon Musk visits the Pentagon, meeting with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Amid a New York Times report, Musk was to receive a top-secret briefing on China. President Trump calling it fake news as he awards a much-needed contract to Boeing. What the White House says is behind the new fighter jet's name. Martha Raddatz standing by. A critical deadline in the legal standoff over 200 Venezuelan migrants deported to El Salvador. The fireworks in court. The judge frustrated, accusing the Trump administration of, quote, not being terribly cooperative. The mysterious disappearance of 3 members of the same family after a visit to the Grand Canyon. What authorities are saying tonight. Also tonight, the new cross-country storm sweeping east. Winds knocking a tree onto a school bus, injuring children. And the new threat of wind-driven wildfires. Sherry Papini, the mom who faked her own kidnapping, returns to court to battle for the custody of her children. What her husband said in court today. The nationwide measles outbreak grows with more cases than in all of last year. And America Strong tonight, the first round upset, and the team manager who's become an internet sensation. Was it all in the socks?
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is... From CBS News Headquarters in New York, this is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening, I'm John Dickerson.
I'm Maurice Dubois.
We begin with President Trump's crackdown on immigration. Today, he revoked a Biden program that allowed more than 500,000 Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans to escape oppression in their homelands and come to the United States. They now have 5 weeks to leave.
And a constitutional showdown is underway between the executive and judicial branches, a stress test on the more than 2-century-old system of checks and balances. Did the president defy a federal judge?
Today, that judge demanded, again, to know why the administration flew hundreds of Venezuelans to El Salvador after he ordered a delay to consider whether the deportations were legal.
The White House insists the Venezuelans are criminals, but as we have reported, there is reason to believe at least some of them are not.
Scott McFarlane was in the courthouse.
On this Friday night, securing and strengthening Canadian sovereignty. The new Prime Minister's summit with the premiers to drum up strategies.
When I say nation be a state,
It will never happen.
Hudson's Bay's drastic downsizing.
this is a sad day in my view for HBC.
How many stores will stay open and the uncertainty hovering over them. Major turbulence, the power outage at Europe's busiest airport, the temporary shutdown, and questions about backup systems. Plus, international boundary issues, why Canadian access is now limited to this cross-border library.
Global National, reporting tonight. Nitu Garcha.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. As we head into the weekend and an expected federal election call, Canadians are not only considering domestic issues, but also the threats coming from U.S. President Donald Trump. Around the world.
Welcome to the Night Watch here on France 24. I'm Alexander Rocotte. These are the top headlines this hour. The leader of the Sudanese army says that there will be no negotiation with RSF rivals until they lay down their arms as his forces capture the presidential palace in Khartoum. Thousands of Turks take to the streets for the biggest demos the country's seen in more than a decade. They're defying a protest ban in support of the detained Istanbul mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, who is President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's main rival in upcoming elections. Israel says it's killed the head of the Hamas military intelligence in southern Gaza, and also destroying a disused hospital it claims was used as a military base for the group.
is Asia Now.
It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Grace Shin, and at this hour, top diplomats from China, Japan, and South Korea meet in Tokyo to strengthen cooperation amid growing geopolitical uncertainties. Japan highlights the need to overcome divisions through dialogue, while Seoul says peace on the Korean Peninsula is a shared responsibility. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says Ottawa could offset the effects of U.S. tariffs by removing internal trade barriers, aiming for free trade within the country by July. And London's Heathrow starts resuming flights after a nearby fire cut power supply and forced Europe's busiest airport to shut down for 18 hours, stranding roughly 200,000 passengers across the globe.
What I'd like to do is to apologize to the many people who have had their travel affected during the day-to-day. We are very sorry about all the inconvenience.
Housing help, a signature government policy to be expanded for higher income earners in Tuesday's budget.
We've got a generation of young people growing up in our country who can't see a pathway to home ownership, and our government wants to change that.
An Australian tourist dies and two others injured after their boat capsized near Bali. Israel threatens to permanently occupy parts of Gaza unless Hamas agrees to release its remaining hostages. And flights resume at London's Heathrow Airport after a chaotic shutdown disrupted hundreds of thousands of travellers. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Dan Borsha, coming to you from the lands of the Gadigal people. The federal government...
Africa News. The news.
Sudan's military has recaptured the Republican Palace in Khartoum, marking a significant victory against the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF). Footage aired by Al Arabiya on Friday showed soldiers inside the palace, which appeared partly in ruins. The army, led by General Abdel Fattah Burhan, has made steady advances in recent months. Despite this win, the war continues with the RSF still holding key territories in Sudan's western Darfur region. The conflict, which began in 2023, has killed over 28,000 people and displaced millions, with famine worsening the crisis. The Republican Palace, a historic seat of power during the British rule, was the heavily guarded RSF stronghold. The military's offensive this year has led to rising civilian casualties. Rights groups and the UN accuse RSF and allied militias of targeting ethnic African communities, allegations both sides deny. peacekeepers held a vocational training workshop to empower local women by developing the skills needed to earn an income and build their own businesses, which is critical at a time of economic crisis and severely stretched humanitarian support. The sessions included learning the craft of bead making to be sold in local markets.
It is new to us because we have never seen these works like the work that brought to us by Unus and Gamba today. We will follow the work that they are going to do today. We are all happy in our farm today.
The training also supports efforts to improve equality in a country where women are often excluded from income-generating activities, as well as political and peace processes.
By training these women with these skills, we are looking at empowering them economically, or giving them some kind of economic independence. Because by acquiring these skills in crafts, women can start their own businesses and generate income. This financial independence will not only improve their quality of life, it will also help contribute to the community's development and the nation as well.
The peacekeepers' relationship building efforts include many other activities, such as providing veterinary care to livestock owners across the state. So far, they've treated more than 27,000 cattle, sheep, and goats. In recent weeks, global markets have experienced notable fluctuations, particularly in the commodity sector, with significant movement in oil and gold prices. Oil prices have risen for the second consecutive week, influenced by geopolitical developments and strategic decisions by major oil-producing entities. The significant factor contributing to this uptick is the U.S. recent imposition of sanctions targeting Chinese entities involved in the procurement of Iranian oil. The U.S. Treasury Department's measures are part of a broader strategy to curtail Iran's oil export, aiming for a reduction of about 1 million barrels per day. OPEC Plus also announced production cuts by 7 member states to stabilize prices. Gold prices, despite a slight dip, have surged due to expectations of U.S. Federal Reserve rate cuts, ongoing geopolitical instability in the Middle East, and the economic uncertainties. Investors continue to favor gold as a safe haven asset. In the United Arab Emirates, these global trends have influenced local markets, with 24-karat gold prices dipping by 0.5 dirham to 365 dirham.
This is Sky News, the headlines. Tributes pour in as American boxing legend George Foreman dies at the age of 76. Flights are starting to take off at Heathrow after the entire airport is shut down for the first time in 15 years.
Yeah, I was in the flight, and then, like I said, my wife was looking at the map, and she spotted saying it was getting turned around. And I was like, "You're joking."
Heathrow's chief executive apologises but defends the response. We look at how it could have happened and the economic impact. Also ahead, a horror film fanatic with a fixation for gore is found guilty of murdering his housemate and chopping his body into pieces. 5 jihadists are sentenced to jail for holding French journalists captive in Syria for the terror group Islamic State. And in sport, Thomas Tuchel gets off to a winning start as England head coach. Good morning. Welcome to the
Thank you very much for giving time to Amir Shackle 5858. I am Amir Shackle. Have a good life. Bye-bye.